So much said, I'm in too deep. Waters I tread can't catch my breath. A shadow chasing me, a game of hide and seek. Found they'll have a peace. All right, welcome everyone to another edition of Deconversion Stories. And as you guys can see, I've been whining about not being able to find my earbuds for the longest time because I want to wear my cool ass new hat, and I found my earbuds, and now I'm wearing my cool ass new hat. So there you go. Welcome to the show, Liz.
Hi, thanks for having me.
No problem. This is going to be so much fun. Liz and I have been following each other on Twitter, or X as they call it now, but I'm not calling it X. None of us are calling it X.
His mama named him Twitter. I'm gonna call it.
That's right. And I've been trying to sort of put a bug in your ear, I think some time back, and you just, I guess time wasn't on our side for this. So finally we are making this happen. And what we do here is we chat with folks about how they found their way free from their previous belief systems. So basically kind of take us back into the days, like as you're saying, you were like a believer as a kid and then kind of grew out of it, sort of thing. So take us on that journey of how you kind of grew out of it. And I also kind of want to talk a little bit later about your what you do elsewise on the web, like with your the cool stuff about the psychology of sex and stuff like that. And I want to delve into that fetish thing too. So because that just blows my mind, some of that stuff. So anyways, take us on that journey.
Well, I was raised in a Christian home, and
what flavor?
Well, my father's side of the family was Lutheran, and my mother is from Ethiopia, and she is Eastern Orthodox Christian.
What is that? What's their Eastern thing? What do they do?
Well, it's sometimes also called Greek Orthodox.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And so I had both of those influences growing up. Was raised to believe in God, prayed as a child. I remember my mother teaching me a prayer that would help me whenever I was scared as a little kid, laying in bed, and, monsters, that thing. And she taught me a little prayer to say in her native language, Tigrinya, a Christian prayer that would calm me down. And then I was able to go to sleep. It was like this, this magical thinking, this amulet. I'm sorry, what?
It was a sleeping spell.
Right.
You would just cast it on yourself and you would fall asleep.
like this magic protective layer, like nothing can get to me with this, Sure. So went to church only occasionally. My story is a little unique in the sense that like most of the people I know that are outspoken atheists tend to come from either a very rigid fundamentalist background. They were raised within the church and, super churchy life, their whole family, their friends, everything, just that community that completely engrossed in that bubble lifestyle.
Yep, sure.
Or they were raised in an atheist home. Like I find that it tends to be kind of rare that in between that I kind of fall in that gray area where it's interesting because my mom she is Greek Orthodox, and she was raised in a very religious country. She didn't even really go to school. Like church was school for her growing up.
Wow.
And so there was that influence. And yet I was born and raised in America, and she didn't raise me the way she was raised. And so,
right.
You know why she did?
No, I don't.
You never spoke to her about it, I guess, eh?
you'd have to read the book, my memoir that I'm working on.
Oh, right, of course.
It's like one of those things that's just so complicated and exhausting to even like get into the nitty gritty of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, sure.
yeah. So anyway, so by the time I was in my early teens, though, I was loath to go to church. Like, I mean, it was always super boring to me, and I don't
I
even
can
think
relate.
yeah, like, I don't even think she found a neighborhood Greek Orthodox or Eastern Orthodox church to go to, so we went to a Catholic church, which I
think that's the closest thing. Yeah.
exactly, it's
Mm.
it's a spin-off
Mhm.
denomination, and so, and it was so painfully boring, and of course, I would just, goof off, and me and my sister would laugh and make funny faces, and she would just give us the death eyes, that your mom gives when
Yeah.
she's mortified and wants you to shut up, right?
It's not your fault though. It's so boring. Where
Boring.
you're like playing with scraps of paper. You like make games out of the clicky pen until they take that out. Like there's nothing to eat.
You're just watching some old guy on a stage rambling on, and
It's
any
like,
little kid is gonna be like,
I'm 10. I zoned out after the first 30 seconds. I have no idea who he's talking about now. I have it's gone. I don't know. I have no idea what it means. I'm just sitting here confused
I mean, I
for the
remember
next 2
going
hours.
to, yeah, and I remember going to Sunday school a couple times, singing "Jesus loves me," yes, I know, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so by the time I was in my early teens, though, I was doing so much reading, and the more I was learning about history, the more I was recognizing the pattern of all of the worst forms of human rights abuses and oppression and wars and all that. The common thread was religion. And I started putting that together like, oh, it was religious people that were promoting slavery. Oh, it was religious people that were fighting against women's rights. And oh, it was really, like I was making all these connections, and I was going. So that, of course, made me think even deeper about religion in general. And over the years, I shelved the God thing. Like I started to feel like, okay, I'm not religious. But I still was like, oh, but there could be a God, or oh, there's probably still a God. And because anybody who was raised in Christianity knows that, at least in the more fundamental, types, that to say there is no God is like evil. I mean, that's just like you might as well be running around murdering and whatever, right?
So did you
Well,
get the
that's what they think.
Right, exactly.
so for your religion was the lack of that religion instantly Satan?
I'm sorry.
Like it wasn't so there wasn't like, oh, I'm organized Greek Orthodox or not. It's just like Greek Orthodox or Satan. Like that, like for the Christians, they always went straight to, if you don't believe in Christianity, it's like, no, he might be Jewish or Muslim or no. The opposite
Right.
of church is devil. It could never be another religion. It's always devil.
Exactly. Black or white.
Yes.
And
Yep.
so where was I again though? Oh yeah. So I shelved the God thing. I wasn't really thinking much about that. It was more like, okay, probably a God, but moving on, just not religious.
Live life.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of shit happens. It's high school.
Oh yeah.
I had a brain tumor when I was 17.
You did?
Yeah.
No.
I had a benign brain tumor my senior year. And so
That is inconvenient.
I'm sorry?
That is inconvenient.
Right. So
Ruin spring break.
right. So life takes over. And but it wasn't until my early 20s that I started dating someone who was an out atheist.
Mhm.
And he had asked me, even on like one of our first dates, do you believe in God? And I said, well, I mean, there's probably a God, but that's as far as, and he was okay with that. He was okay, at least you're not some fundy, crazy,
Right.
Yeah. But it was we were together for 3 years, and it was through our conversations over the years that it was all the dots were connecting. It was like oh my God, I never thought of that. Like all these things that you're just like, and then it just snowballed from there. And since then, it's just been one thing after another of, oh my God, it's all bullshit. Wow. And so it just, and then it got to the point where I felt like the activist in me was ignited by all the crap we're seeing in politics and how it's just getting worse, at least here in the States.
It's organized now.
Yeah. Oh, it's starting up here in Canada too.
And they're focusing it.
Like that whole Trumpitude has bled its way across our lines, and our conservatives are starting to get a little crazy ass here too. So
sorry about that.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Are you both in Vancouver?
No, just me.
Not yet. As soon as I can sneak across that border, baby, we're out of here. So long, America. It's been real.
I know, right?
Give me the maple leaf. I'm ready to commit.
So I finally just created a Twitter account because I realized, I have a lot of things to say about all this, and it needs to get out there somewhere. I'm like, I just need to get these thoughts out there. So I created the Twitter account, and I was like, well, I got to call myself something that makes it clear just by my name that I'm an atheist and what my profile is about. So I came up with Godless Liz. I was like, well, that works.
Straightforward, right?
Straightforward, and
at least you didn't put the atheist in there. You know what I mean?
You took it already.
Neil was probably like one of the first. Neil's probably one of the first to be completely fair and honest. Like Neil was first.
Yeah. Well,
come on, camera. You can do it. Come on, camera.
And the first tweet that I did that started to get more attention was one that I was like, I'm seeing a lot of people ask a particular question, and I feel like nobody's really addressing the answer. And so that question was, why do you care what people believe, and why do you speak out against people's beliefs, and why can't you respect people's beliefs? And I kept seeing this, and I'm going, how is it not obvious? And so I just detailed exactly what the issue is. And so I was like, most non-religious people wouldn't give a shit about your beliefs if it wasn't for, and I started listing all the
right.
And that's my pinned
standard stuff that we tend to be like, yeah, you can't do that.
Right. So yeah,
it's one of the issues I think is they can't wrap their head around the idea that beliefs are just that. They are ideas, and ideas don't necessarily always deserve respect, especially if these ideas contain some topics that have potential to be harmful to people. Like, let's face it, the Bible isn't exactly pro-women, right? So a lot of rights are being stripped away from women, like Roe v. Wade taken away. Like, that's like, what are you doing? Like, when I heard that up here, I was like, what is going on? Are you kidding me? Are we going back into the dark ages? So,
put us all in cages, Neil. All the men gonna be in cages down here pretty soon. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get across that border before the women wake up and just start beating the shit out of us. Like, women's rights are literally under assault, and I don't want to be here when the chips all come. You know what I mean?
Or the rights of marginalized groups like the LGBTQIA plus community, right? Like, according to their scriptures, well, although it doesn't really even say that in there, but it does have some definite hints towards, we don't like these people kind of thing, right? Like, we don't like gay people or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's heartbreaking to see this, because I'm sorry, but we're all human beings, whether you like it or not. We all carry like 99.98% of the same DNA within us. Within the last couple of 0.02% is all our little insignificant differences has come. There's racism that runs rampant, and I keep trying to tell people that there's one race, the human race, and like every other species, we just happen to come in a variety, right? So, and these are platforms that a lot of these modern day conservative type Bible believing people stand on. Like, you've seen it down there, the Nazi flags being brought out again, And it was Trump that opened that door. It's like he popped the cork and suddenly everything's just overflowing. I'm just hoping that eventually it becomes, not the norm anymore.
That's when
and I think,
okay.
I think we'll win over this eventually, because I hope so. Anyways,
when you gotta like wave around flags for like losing teams, like like if you're out at like a hockey game and then the Red Wings are whooping your team's ass, are you still gonna be waving your little flag in the fourth quarter or the third period or whatever? You're still gonna be waving your flag in the parking lot. No, just give it up, dude. You lost.
It's pathetic. I know.
Just put the flag. You lost twice now.
I think it's so stop. It's so fucking weird. There are groups of people in the South who do Civil War reenactments. It's just bizarre.
It is. It absolutely is.
But story time. Hell no, story time. Quick, fetch me musket. I gotta go pretend I'm in the fucking 1860s again.
Right? What?
I got serious business over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's my peg leg?
Did you while you were in, like, especially you guys said you couldn't really find a Greek Orthodox church? Shit, if you want, we got 2 of them near here right now. So I mean, well, you know what I mean. Yeah. Did you experience any of the purity culture bullshit and stuff like that? Or?
No, that was something I ended up reading about years later, like, my late teens, reading about it in magazines like, Sassy Magazine or something. One of those great, more progressive magazines that, do you remember Sassy?
No, but that is the perfect name for a teenage girl magazine.
I know, right?
What's it called? What was it called?
It was called Sassy. And it was
my gosh, I remember that.
Do you remember it?
Yes.
I gotta get the cover shot of this.
I'm old though, so I do remember.
Yeah.
That.
No, me too. And it covered stuff that all the other cheesy teen girl magazines didn't cover. It was more seriously, it was great.
No way. Is this it? No, that's not it.
Are you Googling it right now?
Oh yeah, I'm
Googling it. Right?
Yeah, my Google foo is like crazy.
I love that.
Google foo.
Anyway, how did I even bring that up? Oh, because I was saying that's where I read about purity culture and purity balls and virginity certificates or whatever they're called. Yeah, nuts.
Crazy stuff, man. I don't get that.
Yeah, no.
But it's not surprising though, because the way the vibe about sex within the scriptures of any kind, even Judaism or Christianity or even Islam and some of the other ones too that are outside of the Abrahamic faith, it's almost like it's taboo for some stupid reason, and I don't get it. I just don't get it.
No, thankfully I didn't have that kind of pressure. I think when I was around like 12 or 13, somebody in the family said you shouldn't have sex until you're married, and that's as far as it went.
Yeah, that's usually that's what they'll say. This don't have sex till you're married. Well,
yeah,
I kind of like, I don't buy cars that way. Right, so I like to test drive a few. All right, that might not be the right thing to say, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Like,
right.
And like it's gonna happen,
right? Because the same goes for her too. I mean, she's not gonna want to fucking hop in some jalopy, be stuck fucking dragging a muffler behind her the rest of her life. So I get it. She needs a test drive too.
Nobody wants that.
Another stick shift. Sorry, I don't know that. And my mind works in mysterious ways.
Right. So no, I didn't have that. I wasn't raised in that world, and I didn't have that kind of pressure. But, I mean, nonetheless, there were other issues. It was still a somewhat conservative household where there were a lot of topics that weren't free to be discussed comfortably in the family, and there were a couple other issues. But for the most part, a pretty trauma-free in that area, if that makes sense. Like a lot of people, there's also, and for some strange reason, trolls love to assume this, that you only become an atheist if you were raised in religion because of some trauma or something, right?
Yeah.
You're just mad at God.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't.
No. Just want to sin.
They what? You just want to
Or
sin?
you just
Exactly.
want to sin. Yeah.
Right. Ridiculous. But yeah, but no, I don't have those experiences, thankfully. I was never molested or sexually assaulted. I was never traumatized in all those deeply serious ways that can wound a person and of course make them
That's good.
question the validity of the
Yeah.
religious cult they're being raised in. I mean, that's a pretty natural reaction if that does happen.
Oh, what happened to the background, Maggie?
Oh, nothing.
What's he doing?
Booyah!
There it
The
is.
dirt on
Oh.
modeling schools. Why new kids on the block are like that. What to do when he dumps you. Special boy obsessed. Wow, what? And this is from November 1989. And also the top 10 sassiest colleges.
Yeah, because that should be the number one factor in what college you choose.
Which one's
Yeah.
sassiest?
Yeah,
Oh, the 80s.
I know.
And
They were
tons of
great.
mice is sending now. So, attaboy, tons. Keep it up.
Keep it up. Expect a report on my desk on Monday. Actually, never mind. I'm on enough government lists. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Back in the day, you say that your mom was raised quite religious, but you're saying that she didn't really carry that when raising you. But how did she feel when she found out that you kind of no longer believed?
Oh, she never has. I mean, unless she watches this for some crazy reason. But no,
And just randomly stumble upon this video? Yeah.
I learned at a
Phone fell open.
what?
My phone fell down and opened on YouTube. Not like
Yeah.
this. Not
Exactly.
like this.
Unless somebody sends her the link or something. Yeah. But
Don't do it. you
no. I'm sorry, I lost my thought now. Hold on.
jerk.
Well, we're
Your
talking about what
family's-
your mom
your-
thought about
yeah.
it. Yeah. Or your
Oh.
family in general. Yeah.
Yeah. No, so I learned at a really young age that you can't have a rational discussion with someone who believes inherently irrational things.
Fair enough.
And because it's funny because even though I didn't become an atheist until about 22, 23, and I didn't consider myself religious through my teens, even around 8 or 9, I would argue with my mom and other religious people when they made claims that I was like, well, no, that doesn't make sense. Like I instinctually just had, I guess, critical thinking skills or something because I was like,
Yeah.
well, my brain's saying that's not making sense. And,
Right.
and so I would have these discussions and it was through those frustrating discussions because as we all know, there's a wall there that when somebody's fully brainwashed, fully indoctrinated, it's like telling them to question anything they believe would be to question whether, it's like to them, it's like questioning if trees exist.
Yeah.
Well, of course trees exist. That's ridiculous. There's
Yeah.
just no reasoning with them. And so, no, she doesn't know. That's a conversation we don't have. That's not,
Okay.
you know what I
Do
mean?
you think? Yeah. I've always been open about mine, like ever since because I was raised in the Jewish faith. Okay.
Mm.
Now I was born to Catholics, but they gave me up for adoption because you don't have sex outside of marriage, apparently. So I was given up for adoption, brought home on Halloween Day, which is kind of cool. But I was raised in the Jewish faith, so by the time I was old enough for my bar mitzvah and stuff, I'd already started thinking like, you read these stories and you're like, this just reads like mythology to me. It reads like the Greek mythology. It reads like the Roman mythology.
Yes.
It's like Homer.
It's just
Reminding me,
these fantastical, miraculous stories, right? That you're just like, well, shit, it just reads like everything else to me. So
Did you
kinda
get to the
dropped
part
that.
about the whale? Did you get to the whale part yet? No, the whale part's killer, man. You love it.
Oh yeah, it's great. Except
Thanks
that it was
for
a fish,
reminding
they
me.
said, not a whale.
Of one of the other things that was a huge factor in all this for me. The more I studied psychology, every time I got knee deep in my psychology textbooks and so forth, I would read something and immediately flash to a Bible story. Oh,
Interesting.
yeah, that's like the hallucination. What's his face had with the burning bush,
yeah.
Like the more you learn mental illnesses and personality disorders, you see it all over the place in religion.
So
Cult
much,
leaders.
So much projection. So much projection.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Back to what you were saying.
Yeah, no worries. I'm sort of on board with you there. I was actually just having a conversation, not last night, but the night before, with a friend of mine about the possibility of some of these revelations coming to people that actually were hallucinations, especially back then in the biblical times, when they may have stumbled upon, running around in a desert, there's not a lot to eat, right? So you find plants and berries and shit like that. Few of those.
Good,
some of them might have
man.
hallucinogenic properties because they don't know anything about them yet. And they didn't realize it, but they needed sustenance of some kind. And all of a sudden they're having all these visions. And of course, as the age progresses and science becomes better, we learn about these things and we mark, okay, well, that one gives you hallucinations, so don't eat that unless, of course, you want hallucinations. But and so forth. So you never know. It's like the witch trials. They found out that there was that fungus growing, or I think it was a fungus or something growing within the grains that were making people see things that weren't there, and blaming them on witches, right? So,
bro, you telling me this whole Bible thing is because this motherfucker was ayahuasca tripping out in the desert?
Something
God
like that. Yeah.
Damn it! All of this because of a bad trip.
Pretty much.
Fuck.
We've got a believer in the chat, actually, named Brother Sid, who is welcome to be here. I never discourage folks as long as they don't get too preachy, and use hate speech or anything like that. Because I'm all for free speech. Don't get it, or don't worry about that. But when it comes to something speech-wise that includes things like harming other people, then I have issues. So, all right. So yeah, but feel free to chat with the chat.
And if you'd like a more spirited debate, the better place for that is in the after party. Because right now we're all here for Liz, to hear Liz's story. So don't be a distraction over there in the chat.
So my issues with the way I don't want to, it's so tricky trying to describe religious groups because there's a whole spectrum, of course, and so it's like, but you have to speak in generalities, otherwise you would get nowhere having to try to list every religion that falls under the category that you're trying, so, but basically what I was going to say was the more fundamentalist religions, that how they treat human sexuality and the issues that they cause. I basically started to make the connection because I studied human sexuality as well as psychology in college. And I started to make the connection that religions were actually causing the very issues they claimed to be the answer to.
Right.
And so I was like, I got to talk about this. And so that's what started The Naked Advice, my blog and YouTube channel. And I was like, I want to tackle this. So I started making videos about relationship advice. Some of the more boring ones got like 1,000 views and that's it. People were like, we don't care. There's a million people you could go to for.
I'm not trying to grow as a person.
But as soon as I decided to delve into paraphilias, because I found that completely fascinating, I was like, wait, there are people who are into things that, like feet or objects or
you name it.
Yeah, specific situations. And I was just, I just wanted to understand it from an outsider. I don't have any fetishes, but I just wanted to understand it. So I took that upon myself to study it as much as possible and do as much research. And so I started making videos about it, and my foot fetish ones, I have the most views, I think.
I think it's a common fetish.
Yeah. It's actually one of the most common for some reason.
I don't get it either, but hey, that's all right.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think fetishes in general are fairly interesting. So
I think the feet wire and the horny wire are like real close to each other in the brain. And I think over time, sometimes that wire can sag and they'll cross streams.
Exactly.
Motherfuckers just wake up one day like, damn, them some sexy feet. What did I just say?
You're a badass, Liz.
And now they're people. They're people from now.
Yeah. There's a neurosurgeon named Dr. Ramachandran who
loves feet.
Yes, I know him.
He was doing research with phantom limb syndrome.
Yep.
He discovered that people who had a missing leg. I wish I could remember the details, but all I know is that he figured out that the part of the brain, like you just said, Mikey,
Oh no.
yeah, no,
Don't
it's
tell me
true.
I'm
That
right.
something about how in the part, the part of your brain, the map of your brain with your foot and your genitals or something is adjacent to each other, and so his theory is that they end up connected for some people.
That could be.
I bet
Very well be.
all football players love feet. As soon as they get tackled, one good time, boom, love feet. From then on, it's all it takes. One good blow to the head, and you're a foot lover.
Oh, please.
It's science.
But those have the most views, the foot fetish videos, and
Hey, more power to him. I got a baby. I like my baby's feet. She's got cute feet.
yeah, baby feet are adorable.
Her little cankles, they're very cute.
Nothing's cuter than cat feet, though. Kitten paws, those little.
Oh,
toe-
yeah.
Yeah.
Toe beans. Yeah.
The beans, the toe beans. Big cat toe beans. They're like ultra beans. Like a
Yeah, and they have
lion's
claws on
toe
them that
beans.
poke holes and shit. Yeah, so.
They sound scary to me.
You just look at them on a screen. I'm not touching them. What are you? I didn't get here this. I didn't get here this long touching toe beans of wild tigers and kid lions.
I'm just gonna stick with my jumping spiders.
Oh, they're very cute.
They are.
So anyway,
eyeballs.
after making videos on the channel for a couple of years, I realized that's what actually led to my Twitter profile, because I was like, I want to start tackling the cause of a lot of the reasons why I feel like I need to counter those conservative religious ideas about sexuality and dating and marriage and all that stuff. I felt ready to tackle the source, the root cause.
Yeah.
And so that led to Godless Liz.
Yeah. Shit. I hate this when this happens. I had something I was gonna say, and now it's just gone in my head.
I got
It
one.
just disappeared.
Okay.
I got one. Did you dabble in any other like wooey things or crystally things or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all like did you find any pseudoscience on your way to where you are now? And like, because it's fun.
Like crystal
and,
healing, that kind of thing. And
yeah, you leave the religion, one religion behind, and you pick something up in the meantime as like a crutch.
Absolutely not. I don't know if I just innately had a great bullshit detector or what, but no, I just never, none of it. I will say though, that when I was a teen, I think I did believe that psychic abilities were possible.
I was there once too.
Yeah.
In an infinite universe, Neil. In an infinite universe.
And when I was a little kid, I thought horoscopes were fascinating, but that's as far as it went.
Yeah, well, I mean, what's the expression that I heard about that? You will continue to believe vague statements as uniquely meaningful, which is basically what astrology is. Right? So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I fell into that trap myself. I dated a Wiccan girl, and I got into I wanted to be a ghost hunter at one point, and
well, that's the
yeah. But of course, none of that shit is real. So, or at least it can't be demonstrated to be real, right? So,
right, and we sure won't give up trying.
Now, see, Neil. I don't think your dream is lost. Just go record empty rooms. Post the video that they want ghosts. Here's the evidence. It's just a freaking wall. There's no sounds, no nothing. Just surveillance footage of ghosts. It's right there.
Well, it's funny. I've talked to people about that. Like, well, what do you consider a ghost? Well, it would be somebody's soul that's lingering. And I'm like, okay, well, what's a soul? What's it made out of? Because it has to be made out of something in order to exist in a natural reality, right? So
jelly.
It would have to be like soul particles of some kind, and they would have to have their own Higgs field to exist here. So, and we haven't found that one yet, right? And people, well, they found the God particle. Well, that's just its nickname. It's actually the Higgs boson particle, and the math pointed to it, and there's no math pointing to a soul particle of any kind. So souls can't exist. Once your consciousness is cut off from your brain, that's it. It's all over. Game over. So
It's game over, man.
souls on my shoes.
The whole idea that after death, that your soul can be visible to people or even speak, or like voices, everything
With
you
no
would
voice
need
box.
in a voice box. Yeah, exactly. It makes zero sense. And on top of that, if a human soul could like, for example, what? Now I forgot what I was gonna say. Dang it!
Ghost.
Yeah, I know. That just happened to me too. It's like,
Whoopi Goldberg and Patrick Swayze kissing. That's where you're going, right?
Right, that was a good one. Yeah, classic movie.
Classic.
I remember seeing that in the theater.
I mean, you were talking about like the part. There's no ghost particles, and you don't really have like anatomy to be doing the anatomy that a ghost would do.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if you want to try to like ghost me up real quick, like hit it, ghost. But like, how would you even know
yeah.
who the ghost was? Because like, you know how many people die like a day? There'd be ghosts everywhere. We'd be just surrounded by ghosts.
Yeah.
You know how many people have died since you've
More
been
people
born?
have died.
Billions
know,
of
right?
people have died since you've been born. There'd be just a swarm of ghosts, unless the ghost can fly, and that changes things.
Well, they can if you look at Casper.
Well, maybe they got like levels of apartments, and like as you get deader, you just kind of have to keep going up until you just got to get off the planet. We don't have space. You got to go.
It kind of ties into my whole thing about hell too, about burning in hell. Oh yeah, what nerve endings are burning? That's what I want to know. Like, you have no
what's
nerve
it feel
endings.
like? So I'm gonna light this lighter on my side of the planet, Neil. Tell me how it feels while it's burning you. Like,
well, and this
that's
is
the same
problem
nerve
with
endings you have.
believing magical nonsense, because the answer to them would just be, well, you know, God or Satan can make it so you can feel the pain anyway. You know, I mean,
Sure.
when it's fiction, you can make up any answer to try to force it to make sense.
Haha.
Right. That's right.
Trap
You know?
door.
And because there are no gods who will show up to correct you, or you know, you can just pass off anything.
Oh, you're just a mortal and you're gonna tell God no?
Right.
Wow.
Oh hell, he used to show up all the time. If you read the Bible, right? He was there everywhere. He was talking to people all the time, and suddenly now.
And he was omniscient, but still had to test people.
Yeah.
You
He
know,
was all knowing, but didn't realize that he was going to have to flood the planet because everyone was being naughty.
like if a psychic had a voicemail. What
and
the
why do
fuck?
psychics have to advertise? That's what I don't get.
They should know how to, like, they know people are coming. That's why they put the business there. The guy's gonna come in. You don't have to even don't put anything on the door.
Oh, Shaggy from Scooby-Doo showed up.
Oh.
Ghosts. Oops.
Now, I might not believe that ghosts are a thing, but there's nothing better than a supernatural ghost movie. Like, those are my favorite. I love ghost horror movies. They're great. They don't scare me.
You see The Haunting of Hill House?
Oh, but they're cool. They're cool.
Yeah, The Haunting of Hill House. Yeah. Do you mean the original, the remake?
Which one is which?
Well, the remake had Taye Diggs, I think, and it was in the late 90s.
I will text my wife.
And the original had Vincent Price, I think, from like the 60s.
Really?
Yeah.
That the thriller Vincent Price?
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yeah. People often say if you could have somebody narrate your story, like your life story, I said, well, it would be between a couple of people. It'd be Carl Sagan or Vincent Price, which I think would be awesome.
I want James Earl Jones.
I love Kristen Bell's voice. I like her voice. I think I'd choose.
Which one?
Kristen Bell.
Oh yeah, she does have a good talking voice.
I also enjoyed the 13 Ghosts, the remake as well. From the original one was kind of pathetic. So,
I haven't
but
seen
the remake
that.
is good. It's pretty good.
From like the early 2000s or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. I wasn't ready for that. That was like me just leaving church every Sunday, and I was like, oh boy, this is a lot going on here. I've never seen a scary movie before. Oh
The jackal.
boy. Yeah, dude, the jackal fucked me up, man. Like I'd never seen that, but that's the thing. Like they put you in this bubble where you're not allowed to experience what all the rest of the teenage kids are experiencing. So you get fucking whiplash on certain normal social events from like you're just not used to it. Like I don't know how to react in this. I don't know how to watch a scary movie with my friends. I've never seen a scary movie before. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Hellbound wants Neil Gaiman.
That's a good one.
Morgan Freeman. That's good.
That's a typical. Everybody wants Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman will read your whole life,
James Varney.
page by page.
Morgan
Jim
Freeman has
Varney.
an amazing voice.
He
And
does.
if you disagree, then there's something wrong with your brain.
Well, then you're just incorrect with your answer. Your answer is incorrect.
It's okay to be wrong.
Have you guys ever
Every
seen
day.
The Grudge?
Yeah.
The Grudge, yeah.
We just watched it the other night. I've never seen the original, the Japanese original. I would love to. My husband has, and he's like, we have to watch the original, but I love the remake.
How do you feel about thrillers as opposed to horror?
Oh, I love thrillers too.
Have you seen Old Boy?
No, and my husband has, and he's like, honey, trust me, you don't want to see it. He said it's
Watch Old Boy.
like, really? Because he was like,
Watch
it's
it.
really hard to watch. He said, you might not like it because...
If you can get it, once you watch it, then you'll do what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
That's all I can say. That's all I can say.
Brendan Worrell wants Pee-wee Herman to do his.
Well, speaking of ghosts,
yeah. He
Yeah.
just died, didn't he?
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago.
Sad.
Oh, geez. You guys and your old boy thing. Thanks, tons of mice.
Oh, he's a 604-year-old boy.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Anyway, so what? I obviously you went to college and did the psychology stuff and all that. So what made you want to start kind of getting out there and talking about all this sort of the psychology of sex and the fetishisms and stuff like that?
Well, the original inspiration was because I was talking to my husband a lot about like my old, like we met when I was 34 and we got married and we had our son and so we both had relationship experience before we got together. And
That's
so I
the
was
key.
telling,
That's the key.
yeah,
That's the cheat code, everybody. If you're looking for love in all the right places, wait till you're 30 and you find somebody who's also sick of the bullshit. It gets way easier that way.
Right. And we just celebrated our 12th wedding anniversary.
Oh, congrats.
Oh, bravo.
Yeah. So so I was just telling him stories about like old like first time dates or boyfriends or whatever. I was just, talking about the wisdom I had gained over the years and through those experiences. And he was like, you should start a blog. You should just be sharing this. So that's what started the Naked Advice.
So it's all his fault. That's what you're
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And I just remembered what I was trying to think of before, but we already kind of tackled it anyways. I was going to bring up because I couldn't remember what they called it, like the bullshit astrology. It's New Age is what they call it. New Age spiritualism. Which how does one even define what spiritualism is?
I think they just want to keep the soul part because they feel like they have a soul. Like all the organized shit might be bullshit, but they kind of like having a soul still. So they want to keep that. But then they start charging it with moon chakra and shit. I don't know why.
And and all this.
Somehow it turned into me having to send somebody money, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Somehow I kept my soul, and then now I'm in a fucking
At least they
payment program.
Sent you a little envelope with the mustard seeds in there, right?
Envelope full of moonlight. Just pour it on your head when it shows up. Right in your pineal gland. It'll open up your third eye chakra.
Yeah. That was something else I thought was kind of weird that I remember stumbling upon is how they said all these different foods that match your body parts. So they're good for said body parts. It's like, that's not how it works.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Yeah. Kidney beans aren't necessarily good for you. Kidney beans are good for you, but they're not necessarily good for just the kidney. And
Why would
like
they
the
be
walnut
called
isn't good for your brain, like it's some crazy.
Oh, the food that looks like the
There
Yeah.
is some really whacked out, fucked up shit out there. Have you guys ever heard of Breatharianism?
Yes.
Yes, Breatharians, yeah.
Like,
The guys that spread and let their little puckers get sunned and all that, and it's like,
Yeah,
that
don't
one
do
too.
that.
Yeah, the anal sunbathing or whatever it is.
yeah,
It's like so delusional. Like I
it's also
can't even
dangerous.
fathom that level of self-delusion. What?
What?
It's also dangerous.
Yeah, what level of SPF you got on there? Huh? You gotta spackle that boy before you just toss him out in the sunshine like that.
Well, and the
It's
people
sensitive.
who claim they can get by on just sunshine and air,
Yeah,
Are liars.
yeah,
clearly
they are.
they would be completely anorexic and eventually die, and they're not. So that means they're eating.
Yeah,
I
let me
mean-
check. Let me check your blood sugar, Mister. I haven't eaten in 10 weeks. Yeah, let me check your blood sugar.
That's some
Impossible.
foot fetish stuff for you right there.
Yeah,
Damn my toes.
those are cute toes.
Wow, Prophet of Zod, how are you doing, brother?
Hey, dude. I don't know.
Oh, there you
it
go.
would be-
There you go. Apparently, there is a doctor up here who will inject you with a homeopathic preparation for your own poop. There you go.
Ew.
I don't know why you would need that, but all right.
Clearly, everybody has too much money. Is what the problem is. Y'all have run out of ideas to spend. If this dude's taking appointments,
I think I did read about this, but I don't remember now why. But it's supposedly supposed to cure you of something. Like I think he like extracts something out of it and then puts it back in you or something, if I'm remembering correctly. Anyway,
that's just a bad idea.
yeah, it sounds
Wait,
ridiculous.
wait. You want to know what I just heard when you said that? It extracts out of you and then you put it back in. Like what? Like I'm thinking like I pooped and now I got to put it back in.
What if
Yeah,
I give you your poop in a pill form, Neil? How did you feel about that? I put it in a nice blister pack. You can just pop the foil in the back, take it on the go.
Yeah, no,
No,
I'm
no thanks.
I'm good. I'll pass and go have an Eggo or something instead.
But they found out the recipe to life, right? And we're the ones that are just just you wait. You should have been tanning your butthole and doing your Hail Marys. Like it's all the same, dude. It makes no sense. Just be a regular person. Be cool.
Fecal transplant? What? No.
I mean, as
Yeah.
far as I know, the guy who did the Blue Zones research about the people who, the country areas of the world that have the highest number of centenarians, I don't think he said anything about that one. I don't think he said that
Right.
now ones are sunbathing their a-holes and
That's right. They live to like 158 years old. Keep the pants up on sunny days. It's weird.
yeah, I don't think they're starving themselves either. And
Okay, so Mark Caesar just made a mention here that he says apparently consuming poop supposedly is the key word here, replaces gut bacteria. It's a real therapy apparently.
Okay.
I'm sure they extract the gut bacteria from there and give it to you, possibly like Mikey said in pill form, right? But I don't think you actually have to eat it. It's like no thanks.
I mean, I've seen baby elephants face plant into their mom's poop because I guess that's how they get their gut bacteria. Hey guys, it's called yogurt. Came out a couple of years back. Just eat some yogurt,
Right.
get some healthy biotics. You can eat some stuff like food. Food's usually pretty good at getting stuff into your gut. But if you want to go the long way, I mean, I guess you can. There is a shorter path. It's your mouth. Just eat good food. My wife says the show I think she thought you said was House on Haunted Hill. That's the movie that was remade with Taye Diggs.
Yeah.
It's The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, that's a series, right?
Yeah, it was like the show.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah. So that was cool. You like that one? That was the one I was talking about.
Yeah, I liked it. It was really slow paced, but in a good, you know that it's going to be worth it kind of way. Like, there's going to be a payoff or something interesting is going to.
Decent payoff. Honestly,
Right.
decent payoff.
Yeah.
Worth it.
For sure.
I used to love watching those kinds of movies all the time, but I'm just sort of they've become a little flavorless to me now, I guess, just because I don't believe in all that stuff, right? So
Oh, I know. That's why they're not scary anymore. It makes me think that you'd have to be a believer to be frightened by all those Exorcist movies and everything. And like, to me, it just looks ridiculous, and you just end up like, you know,
like
except for
like
the
that
jump
expression.
scares.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
well, yeah, like, but I can get that from Aliens.
Right.
and whoever's in charge of music, knock it off with the fucking volume switch, will you? Okay? You don't need to have the bus go past at fucking 8,000 decibels to snap me out of this fucking, and the secret is in the room. And then the bus goes by and you have a heart attack. And they're like, ha, you're afraid. I'm like, no, I have reflexes. I'm a human.
Yeah.
There's a bus in here for some
It's
reason.
normal to be startled by loud noises. Exactly.
Well, yeah, for sure it is.
Right.
Well,
Did you guys see, real quick though, since we're on this topic, did you guys see that Netflix series, Midnight Mass, I think it was called?
I don't think so.
Mass. Oh gosh, so good.
looking.
I'll check it out.
So
for
good.
sure.
Like it's one of those like I think it's only like 11 episodes or something like that. But anyway, so
They're
worth it.
standard pretty like that now.
Yeah.
It's an original concept. It goes in a direction that you're like, what? No, that's interesting.
Give me a movie poster, you damn thing.
Working the internet.
Oh, I have seen this. Or I haven't. I've seen it on the menu. I haven't clicked it though.
Yeah.
Are you saying check it out?
With your time.
Okay. I know my wife is in the other room watching this, so find it on Netflix and put it on the list. I will watch it.
So before we wrap this up and jump into an after party, well, we do take a little bit of a break between the two. So bio breaks, grab a snack, refill your drink, whatever, that kind of thing. Something I like to ask our guests is if you could go back and see your younger self and with all what you know now, what's the kind of advice you would give your younger self to possibly, get you out of it, but earlier?
You mean in regards to religion?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if there is anything I could, because I feel like my journey was a very natural one that happened pretty quickly compared to what I hear from a lot of other people, where it took them, it wasn't until they were like 40 before they realized, like, I feel like, I don't know if there's anything. I honestly can't answer that.
Or what about somebody who's on the fence, who's kind of like doubting themselves? They're kind of like, I don't know if this is really real. What would you say to a person like
me? It's not my younger self. I'm talking about somebody else.
Yeah. Well, yeah. In that case, like if you came across somebody that was questioning and had they were starting to lose their belief in their faith.
Oh, I guess I would just tell them, hey, whatever questions you have or whatever conversations you want to have, I'm here for you.
Excellent.
Because people need to have that journey on their own. Part of the reason, what?
So I believe so.
Yeah. Part of the reason I think there's resistance sometimes when you try to force these conversations, when somebody's just not emotionally ready, or they're just not there yet, if they ever will be, is because it's coming from an outside source. Those thoughts, those connections, those points of view, those perspectives. And human beings tend to be very, there's like this ego or pride where they need to feel like they're the ones making these connections themselves instead of it coming from an out. You know what I'm getting at? And that's why
it's got to be their idea.
Right. It's got to come from within. And so I think oftentimes the reasons I will engage with people who are contrarian or disagreeing with whatever I'm saying on Twitter is because even though chances are they're not going to hear it and they're not going to get it, and it's for everyone else who reads the thread, who might be on the fence, who is thinking about these things, those are the people who are going to be helped by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree.
We've got someone in the chat that is convinced that there was a crucifixion and resurrection and all that stuff. So claiming that it has scholarly consensus. It doesn't actually, but there's a lot of biblical scholars that aren't even sure there was an actual Jesus. They may have been just a character derived from some rabbis, I guess, some itinerant crazy ass rabbis from back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Or there may have been just one guy that they created this character and developed him around that guy. It's funny
there's no
because
proof he actually existed.
No, there isn't.
The best all historians, secular or not, can say is he most likely did, based on our research. That's the best they can say.
Sure, but did Hercules exist? He may have.
Probably.
Right? But we can't really, other than the stories that are in their mythologies, which is how I view the whole Abrahamic scheme anyways. It's all just a bunch of mythologies. That's all it is to me. And for some reason, that's the one that stuck. It's like everyone was throwing religious darts at a dartboard, and the Abrahamic ones seemed to have the most appeal, I guess, or because they gave promise to some sort of eternal life that isn't going to happen. But anyways, so that can be a real lure for some people. Oh, so I don't really have to die. I can live on and something. No, sorry, but your constituents go back out into the universe from whence they came.
Well, I mean, it's easy to have the longest, Abrahamic religion when you won the crusade.
Right.
Yeah. Winners always
murdered your opponents. Yeah. Easy to be the only show in town when you're violent.
Right. When you're snuffing out all the people asking questions and
what dissent?
And the opposing dialogues. Yeah.
What opposing dialogue?
It's literally domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what kept mouths shut from challenging the powers that be. And yeah.
It's a nice telescope you got there. It'd be a real shame if
right. Right. So I mean, we can all see how a lot of religious beliefs probably had their origins in just emotionally dealing with the realities and hardships of life. Because death is traumatizing and awful and a fact of life, and we all hate it. And so
it doesn't scare me.
It can be, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so you could see how humans made up fairy tales about, fantasies about life going on forever. And the problem with that, of course, is it turned from something that may have been well-intentioned into something that the psychopaths of the world took it and ran with it. Because they were like, oh, great, look at what we can manipulate people into doing if they believe they can.
Through fear.
And now, first, if I just take over their religion, I can sharpen their religion and use it against my enemies.
Right.
It's a shiv. It's a shiv of human psychology.
Yeah. Definitely a God of the gaps, Michael. Yeah, God of the gaps. So we don't have answers, so we'll just use our God putty and patch it up with some God stuff, and there we go. There's your answer. Well, you don't know that's the answer, and don't pretend like you do.
Right.
But, yeah. Anyway, I think we've. Is there anything else you wanted to mention before we bring this to a close?
No. I mean, I could probably talk to you guys for like 5 hours, but if I bring up something right now, it's going to last another 20 minutes or something. So we should probably just.
We can talk about whatever you want again in the after party. So that's what we're going to do. We'll wrap this up. We'll get into an after party. There's a link to it in the description box below. And also, I have a Linktree link for Liz, so you can find all the stuff that she does and works on. And believe me, it's worth going and checking out. So definitely do that if you have the time to do so. And you can follow her on Twitter, or X as they call it. But are you on Blue Sky yet, Liz? Or?
I am. Mm-hmm.
Are you? Oh shit, I haven't found you there yet. What about Tribal?
I am, but to be honest, not a fan. I've tried Tribal and Counter Social, and both of them, I don't even think I've checked them in a couple of months.
I prefer Tribal over Counter Social. I'm also on Mastodon as well. It's like all these new social things are popping up.
I'm on Mastodon too. I totally forgot. Yeah.
I'm gonna start sending ravens to people.
Yeah, with little notes.
Like Game of Thrones, yeah, with a little note on their foot.
Yeah.
That'll really upstage
That's-
everyone if I
that's
just start
the new
sending
chat.
ravens. Yeah.
I didn't get that reference because I didn't actually watch that show.
Oh, you like horror shows? Yeah, watch that.
Well, you know what's funny is I watched the first episode, the pilot, and I found it so depressing. I just couldn't continue. I was
I
like,
can see that. I can see
yeah,
that.
I was like, I can't continue this show right now. But
But-
I was in a different state of mind at that time. So
But me and
It
Neil
took
are
me a while to
anime.
watch it.
Me and Neil are anime fans. We're
Mhm.
used to being tortured for hundreds of episodes before something good happens. So
Yeah.
that's
we've
fine.
we've been conditioned to like, oh no, just write it out. It's probably just filler. It'll get better.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I was pretty impressed with the One Piece stuff that they did for the live action, so that was pretty cool.
See?
Anywho, thank you everyone out there in the chat here on YouTube and over on Twitch as well. Thanks for hanging out with us. Always a pleasure to have you guys there to interact with us. And I like reading what you guys are saying to each other sometimes because it can get pretty damn funny. Also, thanks to our amazing patrons and members. If you would like to become either one of those and help out the show, because every little bit helps. Life isn't cheap. So there are ways to do so in the description box below. And don't forget, I've got Liz's link tree in the description box below. So definitely go and check out all the hard work that she does for our community and speaking out against that kind of stuff.
Neil, we forget to say one thing every time.
What's that?
If you are new, subscribe.
Oh, right. Sure.
My bad. We've been doing this for so long. You should know by now, but we'll ask. Can you subscribe, please?
Yeah, and hit the bell so you'll get notified when we go live.
Yeah, so you don't text me and send me ravens to my house in the middle of the night asking me when the show is. Just hit the damn bell, will you?
Ravens.
You got your Harry Potter owls waking my daughter up in all hours of the night. Hit the ding dong bell.
Alrighty then. If you guys want to be a part of the after party, just let us know. We'll get you a link and you can jump in and say hi to Liz. There we go. Ooh, that was close. Until then, guys, like I always say at the end of the interview section, like the late great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.